HARK! We are here. It is time for yet another Star Wars Unlimited video. This week is basically part 2 of last week. Last week we got coverage of what was in the booster packs. This week we get coverage of how much some of these products cost. And most of them are going to be decent prices. Some are less than what I thought they were going to be. Some are more than what I thought were going to be. But I think all around, the pricing of the products, which we'll get into after all the previews, is pretty good. So we do have a couple of previews to go over. A new leader, a new card that features a character from a video game. That's fantastic. All kinds of things to go over before we get into the coverage of the FFG Livestream that happened last week around this time. Let's get right into previews. Our first preview comes by way of the FFG Livestream that we took part in, participated in, learned from, whatever you want to call it, last week. And it's an event for Vigilance. And like I said before, it features a character from a video game. And this is a good step forward for us fans of projects that aren't just animation, TV, and movies. We have Takedown. Takedown is a 4-cost Vigilance event tactic. It says defeat a unit with 5 or less remaining HP. It is an uncommon. It is number 77 of 252 in SOR. You can see here, this is an Inferno Squad member, specifically Item Versio. Fantastic. Neat looking card. This does not say non-leader unit, so as long as it has 5 health or less, it goes away, which goes along the same lines as prepping things for Vanquish, which just deletes the unit off the board so long as it's not a leader. So Takedown allows you to get rid of things that you've done a little bit of damage to, while Vanquish just eliminates it as long as it's not a leader. The other card you see here is a OP variant for, I believe, the store championship, and I believe this is a participation card. There should be a participation card and then a winner's card, or whatever other way a store chooses to divvy up the store championship. We'll go over all of that when we get into the actual description for the FFG livestream itself, but this also showcases Iden kicking some dude in the face, which is fantastic. So fantastic to see at least one character from a video game. Hopefully we can get Iden at some point in the near future. I don't think she'll be in this set, but if she is, I'll be super happy about it. We still have a lot of cards to go before we know the whole set, but this is definitely the regular version, and this is the alternate version that we'll get out of the organized play. So our next card comes by way of the Unlimited FFG Twitter account, and it is a leader, and it was actually a surprise. I was thinking we were going to see a command leader on the Friday that this came out, but they decided to show us an aggression leader, and that's probably because some of this information was given to us as a result of GameGenic's Spiel image, showcasing what they're potentially going to show off at Spiel itself. So let's get right into this. This is the Grand Inquisitor, Hunting the Jedi. Aggression, villainy, action, exhaust. Deal 2 damage to a friendly unit with 3 or less power and ready it. Epic action if you control 6 or more resources, deploy this leader. 3 power, 6 health on the other side. It is one of our rare leaders. It is number 11 out of 252 in SOR. And on the other side, we have 6 cost, 3 power, 6 HP, Force Imperial Inquisitor, same as the other side. On attack, you may deal 1 damage to another friendly unit with 3 or less power and ready it. The Grand Inquisitor is supposed to hurt your units to be able to get them to attack more than once per turn, or do more than one thing a turn if they have abilities that exhaust themselves. But you have to have a high enough health and a low enough power in order to be able to take advantage of that. The fact that this is actually a bigger damage piece, 2 damage to friendly units with 3 or less power to ready it, compared to the leader side. There's less of a restriction on the leader side, but it is still, you're still dealing damage, it's just less damage, but the restriction stays the same, 3 power or less. A lot of people are saying that this is going to be good for grit, so a Vigilance, aggression, villainy deck with the Grand Inquisitor as your leader, utilizing grit units to be able to continue to get them more and more power until they hit above that power level, which is 4, and being able to continuously attack. I think the design scope for this is actually pretty cool. My worry is the speed of it, and if you take into consideration, if you're using high health things, then you should be fine, but if you're using middling health things, let's say Cell Block Guard, you activate this after your Cell Block Guard is attacked to deal 2 damage to it to ready it. Your opponent can do something to kick it off the board before they get the effect of being able, you get the effect of being able to attack with it a second time or do whatever else is necessary. So the Grand Inquisitor is going to be very useful for things that have a lot of health already. Again, grit comes into play there. So a lot of Vigilance cards are going to be useful for this. Note that it does not say ground unit, it does say unit. So you will be able to do just another friendly unit, so you can do this to something in space to be able to get that extra attack. You just have to make sure your opponent doesn't have the response time to be able to deal with this, or you don't care. And those are going to be the restrictions, I think, to the Grand Inquisitor. I don't think this is going to be a very popular leader right off the bat for aggression. I think Vader's definitely going to be the top end for aggression leaders so far. Vader and Sabine, which, I mean, yes, we've only seen 3 leaders total, but aggression will have 5 total, 2 villainy, 2 heroism, and then the Vader starter villainy version of this. So it'll be interesting to see what the common aggression villainy card is, and leader, and it'll be interesting to see what the rare aggression heroism leader is for this aspect. And because we're right at the beginning of aggression month, we should be seeing more stuff with aggression here very, very soon. Our last preview comes by way of the Unlimited FFG Twitter account. It's our final preview for Command Month, and it is a very interesting card that provides you advantage, and that is Tactical Advantage. 1 cost command tactic event. Give a unit +2/+2 for this phase. It is a common, number 124 to 255 in SOR. +2/+2. You can throw this on a Sentinel to make it harder to defeat and also deal more damage to something that's attacking it. You can add this to something that you want to get out of takedown threat range. You can add this to something that you want to be able to attack in the next turn when it's your turn, because remember, you tactical advantage, your opponent gets an option to do something on their action, then you go back. Or, and this is an interesting strategy that I thought up recently, you can add this to something that you want to overwhelming barrage for an even bigger attack. And there's a combo potential here that's several moves, and probably you only want to utilize when you have the exact advantage to be able to do this. But if you have your Vader leader and you have a Mahdi on the board, you tactical advantage your Vader, your opponent does whatever, you swing with Vader, you pop your Mahdi, you exhaust your Vader. Vader does its damage. You can overwhelming barrage afterwards with a huge extra blast of damage across the board, or just attack with Vader again. And Vader ends up being, you know, he starts as a 6/7, I believe, if I remember correctly, and then goes up to an 8/9 if my numbers are correct. So 2 8 damage attacks to be able to just blow up somebody's base or to clear units off the board. That is a tactical advantage, as long as you're not interrupted in such a manner where somebody clears the Mahdi off the board or whatever. That's why I say you kind of do it as your last thing. But tactical advantage gives you a lot of approaches for defensive moves, offensive moves, or neutral moves to force your opponent to deal with something that they don't want to deal with. And that's actually really good for a 1-cost command event. So it does require you to think about your sequencing, as many things do in this game, but at the same time, it gives you a tactical advantage to choose where you want this effect to take place. And it is for the entire phase, which is effectively the entire turn or round structure. And you get to do all kinds of fun shenanigans with it. Before we get into the actual FFG stream as a whole, I wanted to showcase to you all some of the variants that they showcased to us outside of the Takedown variant that we saw, that are going to be coming in these kits that we're going to be getting: the pre-release kit, the weekly kit, and the store showdown kit. We've already seen 1 card from the store showdown. These kits will have different cards that are either participation cards or giveaway cards, whatever it is, but they do have different art in certain slots, and they will have different borders depending on what they are. So right off the bat, we have here Sabine Wren, which we reviewed last week, but we have a new art version of Sabine here, which is part of a 20-card set that is part of the 3-card packs that you get as part of the weekly kit. And you'll note that it is a completely different art compared to what the original Sabine is, but it also has that open border, and all of the alternate art versions of cards that are in this 20-card set that are part of the weekly kits will have this open border here with the color of the main color of the aspect on it, in addition to, I don't know if they're all going to have different art, but so far we've seen Sabine does have different art, so this will be fun. I'll have to try to fish out 3 of these myself because I am a big Rebels fan. The other thing they did showcase to us as part of the pre-release kit, we do get alternate art versions of both Luke and Vader, and this will be the the only opportunity that players can get to use Luke and Vader in a limited experience. So we have here the leader unit versions of them, which these are the back sides of the cards that you'll get. You will get one copy of each of these in your pre-release kit. We'll go over the full contents of the pre-release kit here in a moment later in the video. And then on this side, you get to see the actual leader sides. And I think this is a very interesting way to give players the opportunity, if they really just want to play one of these two characters as their pre-release deck, you just go ham, you just do it. And I think that's a fantastic way of giving brand new players the opportunity to play these characters without necessarily having to go out and buy the starter deck immediately, especially if the pre-release kit is their first experience in Star Wars Unlimited, or their first experience in TCGs as a whole, which I do think there are going to be a fair amount of players who are coming into TCGs for the first time, similar to the Lorcana situation. So it'll be interesting to see how these do in pre-release sealed. It was really nice of them to add additional versions of these characters for players who are just going to show up to the pre-release and then do whatever they want afterwards. So nice little pieces of art here. And we might see more of these as the weeks go on. They give us an extra alternate art preview in a stream, or maybe potentially on the actual FFG Twitter account, Unlimited FFG. And who knows, the as people like to say, the scope is unlimited, the future is unlimited for this game. But it'll be interesting to see what all of these alternate art treatments are going to be. We've already seen Hyperspace, we've already seen Showcase. Now we have pre-release alternate, we have weekly kit alternate, and then as we saw Takedown, we have the store Showdown alternate. It'll be interesting to see what the Galactic Championship and Regional Qualifier alternate art cards look like and what those will end up being. So I like how they're putting emphasis on putting more cards out there so that players can sit there and try to collect as much as they can. And then those cards that people can potentially collect will end up having a little bit more value that allows them to get their hands on playable cards if that's what they're looking for, or trade those around to get the specific art treatments for cards they want in the future. Last week, FFG had a stream and an article that's effectively the second half of the booster pack and product line information that we need to move forward with Star Wars Unlimited. That's why this episode is called Boostermania Part 2, because realistically, it is a second half to the whole situation. They gave us product listings, not listings, but product names and contents, as well as prices for all the product that FFG is releasing in the first wave of release for Spark of Rebellion, but not the Game-genic product price points, which I believe are going to be announced at Spiel this coming up weekend. I don't know for sure, so don't quote me on that, but that's kind of what I was led to believe. But our stream today was Josh, Danny, and Jim Cartwright returning after the long exile of wanting to get developers in, and he's a product guy, VP of strategy. Anyway, so the important information here, and I'm going to go over this as quickly as I can. From the very beginning, they wanted to design a basic foundation of products for Star Wars Unlimited. So the boosters and the starters are the lowest level of accessibility they could have for the initial release, but they could expand from there. They don't want to flood the market with 1,000 different products like Wizards does with Magic: The Gathering. So our first product is the pre-release box. This is going to be a week before the set releases at your LGS. It is designed to support events that can only be purchased at a pre-release event. It is a 6 booster mini box that is specifically used for sealed deck, which we also found out, and we knew beforehand, but this is the official confirmation that sealed deck is 6 packs open build. 30 card minimum for sealed. Still no further information on how draft works specifically, but we've been told multiple times by Xander and a couple of other people. Draft information will come at a later date. Inside the pre-release box, as I mentioned before, there are Luke and Vader promo leader cards. They are playable in the pre-release, and this is the only format of Limited that you will be able to play Luke and Vader in, and I think that's a fantastic thing for them to do. Quick start rules in the box for anybody who has never played the game or hasn't been following the information as religiously as we have, and damage counters in there. The price for this whole box, $30. Fantastic. Also, all of these product things have MSRP, so there's no futzing around. There might be an MAP, which is known as minimum advertised price, which means you can't advertise that you're selling it below a specific price. But I think the pre-release boxes and all these other things are going to just be strictly MSRP for right now. Map might come later when they know they have a solid base for getting the game out to people. Starter, we know the contents on it. They went back and forth on individual decks or two-player decks, and they decided to go with the two-player system because it grants the most options for players, whether that's one person having two decks set up ready to go so they can do whatever, or two people buying the product together so each of them has something that they can play with right off the bat. Launching in 5 languages, making sure that other localized areas have their native language and English language product. This was a question that had been asked multiple times in chat, and I do appreciate the fact that they did answer that. Starter price is $34.99, so 35 bucks. And then we have the boosters. A lot of important information here. 16 cards per pack, we know. 24 packs per box, we know. 6 boxes per case was information that Danny gave us. Thank you very much, Danny. That is very important information, and I appreciate FFG being public about that information and not squirreling it away or hiding it away or not having that information available to players that do the case buy thing with their LGSs or online stores. Show up at your local game store. And that's that. So we know the booster packs themselves are going to be $4.99. All of this information was also in the article. Our next phase of information that we have here, and this is the showcase of our organized play kits, the first 3 levels, the launch kit, the weekly play kit, and the store showdown. So this was all Josh. He's the organized play guy. He gives us the organized play information, and it was a fantastic grip of information here. That's how we got the alternate art information earlier, and I'll go over the details here with you all. Launch kit. Stores obtain this to go along with pre-release products. The kit will be used to support the event. There are bases in each color for every player to facilitate players picking whatever base they want to be able to play, even if they didn't get it in their pack. These are the common bases, so there should be enough for everybody to be able to get whatever base they want to be able to play the game. Flesh and Blood does this as well with their limited events, pre-releases, ProQuest, stuff like that. They provide a stack of tokens that are the heroes and equipment that you need in order to be able to play the limited format, and I appreciate this. I appreciate that the FFG has come to the same conclusion that players need access to things, at least in the pre-release portion. Rare bases were put separate to facilitate players having immediate access to bases and tokens, but forces players to actually pull the rare base to be able to play unlimited, so that's a good decision there. Each launch kit supports 8 players and comes with a full display / box of packs in the kit to use as pricing for the events. We did not get price points on these because realistically that's not information that the public should necessarily have, but stores will have the pricing for this when it comes to actually supporting the pre-release of the game, supporting the official release of the game, and supporting continued support of the game. Launch kit is done. Now we have the weekly play kit. Again, each kit supports 8 players. Every player gets a tracker to keep track of their progress during the weeks. They didn't give us a time frame of how long the weekly play kits will last, but we get a tracker that allows people to know what they've done each week and what prizes they are eligible for in those weeks. They did talk about that 3-card pack that will be given out to players. Each pack has 2 commons and a rare in it. Each rare can also be a holo that has a specific foiling pattern. The alt art of the card will match the aspect of the card. We saw that with the Sabine and the Takedown. 20 different cards are available in the weekly play kit. We noticed that in the bottom, the card number there, I think for Sabine was 17 out of 20. So there are 20 different cards that are available in the weekly play kit. And the weekly play kits will also include hyperspace versions of starter deck cards. Now, I don't know if that's in the 20 cards for the weekly play kit number, but it does mean that we will be able to get hyperspace versions of the important starter deck cards that people are going to want to be playing in a lot of their decks. So that's the weekly play kit. We now have the store showdown. Every player gets a participation card. There's a booster display in the kit to be handed out at the store's discretion. Again, much like the pre-release thing, you get it, the store will be able to dish it out as much as they want. And then there will be judge cards included in the store showdown kit, because in these types of things, judges generally don't play in the events, but they need a reward to be able to run the event. This will probably be me at my local store. They will give us more information about organized play at a later date. And the last thing that we were told in this stream was that the rare base has a standard card back, which it's kind of, when you don't put it in the base token slot, that's kind of expected, but it's good to have that information. Lots of cool things about organized play, which was unexpected, and actual physical product that we're going to be getting when Star Wars Unlimited launches in 2024. I'm excited. I hope you all are excited. I'm already in for a case. I'm debating if I actually have to go for another case, but I'm excited for that. I'm excited for all this information. I hope you all are all excited for that information. And yeah, And that is all she wrote this week about Star Wars Unlimited. Low on the previews, but very high on total information we have about the game. We now know pretty much what we're going to be expected to pay to play this game. Good, decent prices. That pre-release box, fantastic price points. The starter is actually less than what I thought it was going to be, which is always good. And the booster, a little bit more than I was hoping it was going to be, but not so bad that it's price gouging or anything like that. I think that $5 a pack is realistically within the line of reason of us having gone through this journey of like economies and playing games from back in the day when booster packs used to be, you know, $2-3. Companies got to make money, right? Like it's not a bad thing for a company to make money. It's a bad thing for a company to gouge us. And I don't believe we're being gouged here. I think FFG takes the responsibility to the community, to the industry very seriously, and are doing everything they can to make sure that players can go in and have fun and afford to play the game, but also do cool things with it. So I expect lots of sealed, lots of limited, lots of drafting for players to play throughout the weeks, because I think most people are going to end up realistically buying a box, buying some singles, and then just draft. That's it. We got a lot, like I said, a lot of information. We're coming up on the aggression month. We should have an aspect preview stream coming very, very soon. Sorry, I don't know why my nose is so itchy. Let me know how you feel about the information we got, the alt arts, the previews, the booster information, pricing, so on and so forth. Let me know what you're looking forward to in terms of playing the actual game itself. Are you a constructed person? Are you a limited person? Are you a collector? Remember, C3OP, collect, connect, compete. Might not be in the correct order, but that's what the 3 C's are supposed to be of OP. Anyway, thank you very much again to FFG for getting us this information, keeping us on track, for having the hype train just kind of keep rolling through. They're doing a very good job. We do have a larger preview series for the beginning of the game, but as we get into the game and into SOR and lead more towards Shadows of the Galaxy, or Shadow of the Galaxy, our preview season is going to get much, much, much shorter. So it's actually exciting to think about that, what the preview season will look like leading up into Shadow of the Galaxy. Like and comment on the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, follow me on all my social medias, Twitter, Blue Sky, Mastodon, all the different things that are available out there. Thank you for joining me, folks. I appreciate each and every one of you. We're doing good. I'm excited to continue doing more in Star Wars Unlimited. And with that, I will see you in the stars.